Hi, welcome to Schupak Sports. I'm Marty Schupak, and you're about to witness or watch another mini T-ball clinic. This one is 100% on hitting. I urge you all, if you're a parent of a T-ball player, if you're part of a T-ball team, or if you're involved in your local little league that does have T-ball, I urge you to watch this. I'll give you some great ideas, some great drills, some coaching tips. And I'll also go over a couple of products that I think are going to be helpful. And at the end, I have a little bonus. I'm going to quickly give you an advanced tip about how I run a batting practice when your T-ball player gets old. And if you're involved in coaching baseball or softball, I urge you to stay tuned and you might want to watch this. But let's go through these drills. The first drill, and you could do this when they're very young. I call it the bubble hit. And all you do is take bubbles and you start blowing them, and the player has a bat. Now, I like these big red plastic bats, or they come in color yellow also. You can get them at anywhere, the big box stores, your local sporting goods stores. And as you blow the bubbles, the player will chase it, hitting it with the bat. There are no style points in this. It's just a matter of trying to hit the bubbles with the bat. And when you do this, you'll see you have to constantly be backing up, okay? Because they're going to be moving. So that's the bubble hit. Let's go to the next drill. The next drill is very similar, but I use balloons. I've blown them up. You don't need helium. Use your own breath, whatever. And this is the balloon hit drill. It's really putting players in a position to succeed. They'll have a lot of success if you use a big bat and you blow up the balloons to a nice circumference, I guess you call it. All right. The next drill, one of the hardest things you see T-ball players do is when they first get at bat, and around the country, T-ball goes as low as 4 years old, and it's very difficult for them to hit a regular size T-ball off a bat. So what I did is I invented the beach ball plunger drill, where I went out and I bought a brand new bathroom plunger. You could get it, you get a short handle, they're no more than $3 or $4. You blow up a beach ball, and the player hits the beach ball off the plunger, which is in the batting tee. Again, you're just giving him a better chance to succeed. You want to stimulate him and kind of build up his confidence. If you look over my shoulder here, I have it set up. You'll see a beach ball. You'll see the plunger. You can barely see the plunger, and you put it into the center of the batting tee. Good drill. You don't have to spend more than a couple of minutes with it. So that's a beach ball plunger drill. The next drill, very similar. I want to have players, again, succeed very young. So what I did is I put different colored tape, painter's tape, on the batting tee. And again, if you look over my shoulder here, where you'll see the beach ball. Look, I have red, I have yellow, I have blue. And you take a plastic bat, and the reason I say plastic bat is because I've done this on a tree. I put the three different colors of tape. And if you do it on a tree, you'll get a little sting with the players if they use a wooden bat. So try to use a plastic bat, and you'll yell out the color. You'll yell out red or yellow or blue. And they have to try and swing and hit the color of the tape that you yelled out. It's a simple drill. Again, you're putting players in a position to succeed. Right now, I just want to take a little break. If you're involved in T-ball, again, as a parent or coach, I urge you all to try to get a hold of my book, T-ball Drills. It has over 100 drills in it, and I have a description. I have the goal of the drill, and then I also have the benefit. And again, I don't want you to purchase it if you don't have the money. Go to your local library, go to the reference desk, and ask them if they could purchase it for you. At the beginning, they'll say they can't do it because I self-publish my books. But if you insist or get people from your league, they'll do it. I urge you all, if you're getting involved in T-ball as a coach, as a parent, as a league commissioner in T-ball, or even a league president, okay? And I've seen league presidents, they love this book, and commissioners, and they've bought them for their coaches of the T-ball teams, okay? So that's T-ball drills. I urge you all to try to get a hold of it. Again, don't spend money if you don't have it. All right, let's get back to some of the drills. Remember, in baseball and softball, one of the biggest issues is when kids either at bat or in the field, especially in the field, they turn their head, okay, instead of keeping their eye on the ball. And we all have heard the expression, keep your eye on the ball, and it's true. But in this drill, what I've done here, it's called the target hitting drill. And you can barely see, I'll hold it up close. On the ball, I took a sticker, in this case of an elephant. I'm showing an elephant. And I have the player make sure the sticker is facing the batter. And you want to tell them to try to hit the elephant. And what this is doing, it's keeping their eyes focused on a target. All right. So this is a T-ball target hitting drill. I've used colors. I've used different type of stickers. I found the most successful type of sticker to use is an animal sticker. So that's the T-ball target hitting drill. All right. Similar to that, and again, don't go out and buy it if you don't have to. I happen to have what they call a grabber. My wife and I use it all the time. And you've seen these things sometimes, the old-fashioned general store where the owner would try to get something off the top shelf. And what I did is I would put a rag or a tissue in it, and then I'd drop it, and the player would have to hit it. Again, I used a big red plastic bat. And all you're doing is giving the player, a different item to try to hit. I found that over the years, kids really like seeing different type of props to use. Now, in this case, a tissue, will kind of float down at a different speed. So it's kind of challenging, but this is a pretty good drill. Don't go out and buy a grabber just to do this drill. You don't have to do it. If you're going to continue coaching too, and I've mentioned this before we get to the next drill, baseball or softball, I'll give you a hint. If you're competitive, and I was very competitive, and back when I first started, I was over competitive. If you want to be a competitive coach and you're really going to have a passion for coaching softball or baseball, I urge you to put a good portion of your practices dedicated to base running. All right. I always use the analogy that a lot of coaches will teach base running when they're coaching third base and the player arrives there. They'll tell them what to do. Practicing the correct method and telling a player what to do are two different things. There are specific drills and strategies you could do with base running. And I've always insisted and I've always stated that if you devote 15 to 20 minutes every practice to certain base running drills and strategies, you potentially can score an extra 1 to 2 runs every game. I used to look back at my old scorebooks, and one of the best seasons I had, I calculated that I think it was a 25 game season, my team was thrown out at home plate 21 times. Now, it sounds like a negative, but when you think about it, I was very aggressive on the base paths, and that does a number of different things. First of all, when you practice base running, a residual effect I found is that during the games, young players tend to pay attention more. That's number one. Number two, if you do certain base running fundamentals right, it gets into the head of your opposing coach and the players that they know you're aggressive. And this, in effect, will cause them to make some errors that they wouldn't normally make. So, an advanced tip, I'm giving you this free of charge. Practice base running if you're going to be passionate about coaching baseball or softball with your kids. All right, let's get back to the T-ball drills. This is a drill I call Mr. T. And all I did was I attached a rope to the end of a plastic bat and I hold it above the tee a certain width where the rope is from the tee. And I tell the player, swing the bat, but don't hit the rope or the tee. And what this is doing is it's having him or her focus on their swing. And really, it's kind of like a bat control drill. And what you could do is raise or lower the plastic bat with the rope on it to make the area they're going to swing at either bigger or smaller. It's a very simple drill. It's a good at-home drill. It's called Mr. T. All right. Next drill. Again, I'm a believer in props. And this drill is the tennis racket hitting drill. What I did is I took an old tennis racket. I had my son and daughter in the backyard. I told them to swing it like a bat. I had a 4-inch cinder block. I would bounce a tennis ball up. Now, this is not showing really the right flight of the ball. The ball is supposed to go straight up. And then my son or daughter would hit the ball with the tennis racket, and they love it. Because the face of the racket is a lot bigger than a bat, they have a better chance of hitting the tennis ball, and they do, and it goes a long way. Many a time we had to go into our neighbor's yard. Again, don't go out and buy a 4-inch cinder block. If you happen to have one, you could use any type of cinder block, but it's a fun drill. It's called the tennis racket hitting drill. And we're going to wrap it up with a fun drill, which I would do in the warm weather with my kids. It's called Hit the Water Spray, where we'd all get in our bathing suits, again, using a big red plastic bat. And I'd turn on the hose and I'd put my thumb at the end, and intermittently, the water would shoot out like this, like a baseball's being pitched, and they would try to swing at it constantly. Okay? It's a fun drill and it's really good. It's the hit the water spray. Okay. Now I just want to go over a little bit of how I run a batting practice. I'll go over it quickly and I'll try to put a link down. And by the way, at the end of this, I'm going to put a link. This will be 100% free. I'll put a link for my video, T-ball skills and drills. You could just click it and watch it. It's about 35 minutes long. I urge you all, if you're involved in T-ball, to watch it. Quickly, the way I run a batting practice, I do it differently. My goal is always for my team, and this isn't T-ball, this is an advanced drill. When the kids are older, and I think I'm holding it backwards. Okay, here we go. What I do is I'm a big proponent of bunting. I set up 2 cones near home plate. The first 2 pitches, the player has to bunt the ball between the cone. If they get one between the cone, they get 1 extra swing. If they get 2, they get 2 extra swings. What I do also is, even before that, as the kids arrive to practice, I give them a number. The first one to arrive is number 1. The second one is number 2, and so on. That's the order they will bat in batting practice, which I run at the end of the practice. It's a very effective method to get the kids to arrive to practice on time. And you'll see, because I practice a lot, I would have parents come up to me at the beginning of the year telling me that their kid's not going to make all the practices because of their piano lessons, karate lessons, and so forth. What I found is if you run effective practices and make it stimulating, the parents will adjust their schedule for these different practices like karate, piano around your baseball practice. And that's exactly what happened. So they have numbers. And what I do is number one will be at bat. And what I tell them, number two is usually in the dugout, but number two is ready to hit. Okay. And what I also do is I have number three behind the fence with another coach doing hitting the ball off the batting tee. And usually I have a fourth one doing a soft toss drill here with a rag ball. Now, what I do, very important, I pitch from the base of the mound. I use an L screen. I have an empty bucket here. I have an empty bucket here. Whenever we run out of balls, I tell players to, well, first I tell players to throw the balls towards the bucket. Remember this, very important. You run batting practice any way you want, but when I ran batting practice, it was 100% batting practice. Nothing like running the last one out. Nothing like trying to get it now. I don't do that. Batting practice is batting practice because they get more repetitions hitting. After a fielder catches the ball, they'll roll it to either the bucket behind the pitcher's mound or the bucket over here. When I pitch, I usually have two baseballs in my glove. When we run out of balls, I have everyone pick up the balls around the bucket, and I have a bucket that I'm pitching from, and we just switched the bucket. It works well. It goes fast. You have to be careful as you're transitioning from the different numbers. Players weren't running in and out. Okay. But that's how I run batting practice. And remember, you do it any way you want. I was a big proponent of bunting, and my players learned to bunt because they got rewarded if they bunted correctly. So with that, we're going to wrap it up. I want to ask you, if you like this, please subscribe to Schupak Sports and let your league know, let your parents know. And also, please give me a thumbs up to any comments you have. I'm happy to look at them. I'm happy to I'll try to answer them all. So with that, we're going to close it up and look at the links below too. So until next time, I'll see you at third base.